Hello, this is Matthew Hoffman with Baylor Scott & White's Faith in Action Initiatives, and this is our Daylight video devotional as we're continuing our study in the book of Psalms. Today our study finds us in Psalm chapter 2. Follow along with me as I read. Why do the nations rage and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and his anointed, saying, Let us burst their bonds apart and cast away their cords from us. He who sits in the heavens laughs. The Lord holds them in derision. Then he will speak to them in his wrath and terrify them in his fury, saying, As for me, I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill. I will tell of the decree. The Lord said to me, You are my son. Today I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will make the nations your heritage and the ends of the earth your possession. You shall break them with the rod of iron and dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Now, therefore, O kings, be wise, be warned, O rulers of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and you perish in the way. For his wrath is quickly kindled. Blessed are all who take refuge in him. You know, in the first psalm, we saw how God governs in accordance with his words and calling us to be those who would find our hearts delight in God's words. Well, as we come now to Psalm 2, we see this sense of governing again with this language of kings. And there is this, again, this contrast between two allegiances. And we see these kind of this king of heaven and the kings of earth. We see the arrogance even of the kings of earth that might mock God and mock him and really kind of in this pompous pride of plotting in vain against God. And in many ways, this particular song really sings of God's sovereignty over all rulers. It sings of God's sovereignty, even where it has this picture for us. In verse 4, it says, He who sits in the heavens laughs. In other words, it gives the one who sings this song from our hearts a confidence of knowing that no matter what kind of government we find ourselves sitting under, and whoever winds up, quote, ruling over us in civil government or other fashions, there's the King of Heaven that really holds the final word over all things. And he calls the kings of the earth, those who rule, those who lead. And no matter what kind of role of leadership you find yourselves in, this is a call of warning and also a call to be blessed by following the King of Heaven. This particular psalm is also one of the first messianic psalms that we see, where oftentimes in Scripture and in the New Testament, we have this picture of Jesus as the Son, or Jesus as the King and his cosmic rulership. Even in these words, the Lord said to me, You are my son, today I have begotten you. In that we almost get a picture of the baptismal waters as Jesus was baptized, and that sense of God affirming him as, this is my son. And this is the Son of God. This is God the Son. And then this picture of this cosmic rule of this Son, where it says, you shall break them with the rod of iron, dash them in pieces like potter's vessels. In other words, those kings of the earth that would walk in rebellion to the King of heaven. And then this picture of this calling of kings, be wise, be wise, be warned, serve the Lord with fear, rejoice with trembling. You know, leadership comes with some very unique temptations towards pride. All forms of leadership do. We get a promotion and we think, okay, now everybody gets to listen to me, and now I rule sovereign and supreme. And then the stuff of life happens to us that God allows, and then we're finding ourselves realizing, wow, maybe I'm not sovereign over everything. Maybe I need to walk in humility in whatever form of leadership I find myself in. Serve the Lord with fear. Rejoice with trembling. And then there's this phrase, kiss the Son. Meaning, this is an act of submission. And as Christians read this particular Old Testament text in light of all of Scripture, this points us to Christ the Son. As we conclude this devotion today, may you, no matter what area of influence or where you find yourself today, may we find ourselves in glad submission to Christ, loving Him, and following Him as our King. Take care.